thing I realized ever since I got the fortune to manage the national team is that pressure is quite a privilege.
What has changed in terms of the pressure that you deal with now?
Going to the Hong Kong match, there was a lot of noise, do or die game, high stakes, high pressure. I think I told our boys, this is the kind of position we want to be in.
I know we've qualified
Yep.
already,
Yep.
but what are you thinking about going into that game?
We need to stay humble and hungry. The bare minimum is when you're out there, you don't let the shirt down.
Can I suggest a tactic?
Fortunately, no.
Bro,
No.
trust me, today we play 3-5-1.
Yeah.
Confirm.
You're sure one player, 3-5-1.
3-5-2. Sorry. That's why I'm not in the football world. Hey, what's going on, folks? Thanks for being here on another special episode of the Rishi Report podcast series. We're into season 3 right now, and our first guest is someone who I've been chasing for a while. I've been chasing this person since the Singapore national football team made that iconic historical win in the Kai Tak Stadium back in November 2025. This guy hasn't been answering my phone calls because he's been too busy with all the crazy media interviews, and understandably so. The entire nation wants a piece of him, and finally, we've got him on the show. Please welcome the head coach of the national men's football team in Singapore, Coach Gavin Lee. What's up, Coach?
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here, man. The first thing I'm going to ask you is that this calm nature that you have, right? Did this develop over time, or when you were playing football, or when you were born? Were you born calm? Like what? The keep calm and carry on shit?
Yeah.
Is it made from you?
No, I think it's over time.
Yeah.
I think at some point I realized that there are many things you cannot control. So just live with it, just manage it, and that kind of gave me the calmness.
It's probably come in very handy dealing with all the pressure that you've had to deal with over the past 6 months, 7 months or so.
Yeah.
For context, to those who are unfamiliar with the world of football, there was an iconic night of history that I was physically present for. I was very happy about that back in November 2025. And since then, there's been a lot of pressure on the national coach. Or rather, you weren't even the full-time national coach at the time.
That's right.
You were the interim head coach.
Yes.
When your predecessor had moved out.
Yep.
And you were given the reins to manage a very, at the time, an uncertain, maybe even unlikely goal of qualifying for the Asian Cup for the first time since 1984. Is that enough context?
I think that's enough.
Fair, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us what happened, like leading up to that night, in that fateful night in Hong Kong.
Oof. I mean, where do you start? Because obviously before that window, we played India home and away. And that was a window where we thought let's go get 6 points, We get 6 points and we put ourselves in a very good position against Hong Kong. And I think we all believed that we could do it. But, as all good shows go on, you don't get the initial success, you get a little bit of a downfall, and then the hero's arc after. So yeah, then going to Hong Kong, we were quite fortunate with the results, Bangladesh and Hong Kong.
Yep.
So that allow us to make the Hong Kong game a decider.
You can't write this script, man.
No, you cannot.
You cannot recreate this even if you tried. I was in the stadium that night where we took on I say we like I was there, like part of the team. No, I'm not, I know, but I was part of the fans, right? I was sitting with the Singapore Brigade fans. Yeah. And I still remember, my producer is here. Do you remember that night we were at another show and we were not going to be able to make it, but somehow that show ended early and we made it just at the start of the second half. We were 1-0 up.
1-0 down.
Against India?
Against India.
Against India. So I'm talking about the Singapore-India game.
Okay, yeah.
That forced this Hong Kong match to be a decider.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So we were 1-0 up and the spirits were great. And then I think there was some time in the last 10 minutes or so where there was a little bit of confusion at the back. And then we let in one goal.
Yeah.
And the whole stadium went a little silent.
Yeah, went flat. Yeah.
Except And this is when I learned the importance of the Singer Brigade fans. Except the fans in that area, because they started growing even louder. They started screaming louder, cheering louder, singing louder. And that's when it hit me, like, cause I also fell silent. I'm like, oh man, what the hell just happened? But those guys and girls right there, they were like, no man, the team needs us now more than ever. We can't dip, because if we dip, then the whole stadium dips, and then the team will think that they don't have the support. So yeah, man, that was my first foray into understanding, the madness that we've got, the diehard fans we got.
But just on that, I mean, the Singer Brigade, those are good guys. I think, like they always say, win, lose or draw, they'll always back the team, and I think more importantly, they just want to see the players out there doing everything it takes to go out there and get a win. And they understand that it's not always possible that you win, but the manner in which you play is important, and those guys are important voices for us, really.
Yeah. I honestly probably would not have made it up to Hong Kong to watch the game if I didn't get teased by some of the Singer Brigade fellas. I do a lot of events for the football community. I'm never been good enough to play professionally.
Sounds like me.
Well, you came a bit closer, lah. Let's put it this way. You came a lot closer. But hey, you know what they say, right? Great coaches don't have to play, right? They just got to be able to coach. Oh, okay, which I want to get to. But to finish the thought about the fans, right? I think the work that the local fans do, it's a lot of work, man. I mean, take nothing away from the team and the players and all this. Honest hard work, and that's of course the bulk of it. But these fans it's a lot of leche logistics, painting the flag. Someone has to be in charge of the logistics. Who's got the drums? Who's got the sticks? And how are we going to transport it in the international flight? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this is a lot of work, and it's purely because they love the team.
Yeah, I think they've got a good group of guys. I think Syed Faris is leading the bunch of them, and he's very supportive, and I think he's on the council as well of the federation, which helps with that connection between the fans and organization. I think that was always missing, and so it's great that he's on board, and because I think we all recognize that we play the game without the fans, it's not that fun.
I mean, again, from the perspective of the fan, I gotta stop thinking from the player's perspective because I'm not a player. I was gonna say, yeah, man, imagine when we are down there and nobody's in the stands. Hey, Rishi, what are you talking about? But I'll give you another thing, okay? When we were in Hong Kong, all right, so this again, for context, the big deciding game where Team Singapore had to win. A draw would not be enough. And to make things more exciting, we were down 1-0. Oh, man. You can't write that. And then you pull back one goal. You cannot write that. And then your sub comes on. So the sub comes on, creates one and scores one.
Yes.
And then limps off the field.
Yep. Sounds about right.
How can you write that script, man? Netflix, buy the story now, okay? Coach Gavin will play himself if you want. But we heard so much. Okay, there was a lot of positive and negative news post Hong Kong. Positive being, Singapore team great. Some negative controversy about things that were said as well came up in the news. As someone who was there in the stadium that night, right? I think I need to say this, that after Team Singapore pulled back one goal and pulled back the second goal and we were up, there were close to 50,000 people shouting, "Tiu Le Lo Mo." Okay?
Yeah.
You were there, you heard it. I was there, I heard it. The Hong Kong fans were like, and to translate, it's F your mother. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Clapping. And this is something people don't know. Some of the boys in the Singer Brigade area, in the Singapore fans area, started some kind of negative chanting, right? To scold back. And Faris and the leaders quickly shut down and said, guys, no, we are not doing that. This is not who we are. Let's just play the game. Let's just support our guys. We don't have to do this. Everybody is like, okay, yes, fair, got it, understood. So I think, unfortunately, got no photo, no video of those things. So you don't see that, right?
Yeah.
The other thing got no photo, no video is after everything, you know what the Singapore fellas were doing? Picking up litter in our area.
Sounds about right, yes.
And nobody has photos, nobody has videos. I talked to, I said, hey guys, y'all got any photos of us picking up litter? She said, what you want? I said, no lah, maybe the world needs to know. When Japan pick up litter, everybody is like, hey, wow, Japanese fans are very clean. Singapore pick up litter, nobody saw, So just saying that, we were cleaning up after ourselves in the Hong Kong game. Okay, tell me about the pressure. Like you've been obviously leading teams for a while now. You've been Tampines Rovers head coach for quite some time. And then when you took over as interim head coach, you had a lot of work to do. And you delivered by all accounts, right? You delivered a result that made history.
Yeah.
What has changed in terms of the pressure that you deal with now as a coach of a football team?
I think not a lot has changed, to be honest, because I think I've said this before. The pressure or expectations I set on myself internally, it's probably more than what the external pressure can feel like. And I think that hasn't changed since I first started coaching. I wanted to win very badly, like when I was coaching the under 10s and under 8s, And when I don't win, I still feel the same pain in that sense. So nothing has changed in that regard. But something I realized ever since I got the fortune to manage the national team is that pressure is quite a privilege, right? Because this is a position that everybody wants to be in, right? And this is something I told our boys, because obviously going to the Hong Kong match, there was a lot of noise. There was a lot of chatter, right? Do or die game, high stakes, high pressure. But I said, this is the kind of position we want to be in, right? We want to play in the games that matter. And so if you want to play in games that matter, then pressure is just part of the job. So it's about how we reinterpret the messages from the outside to help us cope internally.
How involved are you in that process with the players, reinterpreting and kind of channeling that pressure into a positive outcome?
I don't think it's just me. I think it's all the staff, because something we often say inside, like we need to practice what we preach, right? As staff, if we expect the players to think a certain way or behave a certain way, then the staff, we must be the same. And so like back to your point about calmness, right? If we want the players to be calm on the pitch, then if I am shouting and screaming on the sideline, then that's not going to help drive that message, right? So we believe that for players to perform, they need to be as calm as possible so that they can think clearly. And so I also need to be the mirror, even though inside sometimes it can be quite emotional.
Do you have to scold the fella sometimes? Are you like a scolder, or are you a bit more like, hey, come, you got a problem? Let's talk. Come.
I think there's time and place for everything. And the players will recognize that sometimes they need a kick up their behind, then I've got to do it. Right, if it's more of a softer touch, and you do that, but every situation demands a little bit of different approach.
Yeah.
So just gotta be flexible that way.
From your conversations, it sounds like you are one of those leaders who understands the requirement for the human aspect of management in order to get the most out of the potential of the people that you are working with. Is how big a part of your management approach is that compared to tactics and skills and strategy and player lineups and training versus the people management aspect of it?
I mean, we are very big into the X's and O's, don't get me wrong, right? I think when we step on the pitch, it's all about accomplishing our shared intention through all the different tactics or strategies we have. But at the same time, we cannot forget that behind the player, there's a person. So if the person is not well in that sense, or not 100%, then it's unlikely you get 100% player. So as a coach, you need to see how you can get the best out of everyone. And everyone is different. So if we've got 25 players, you've got 25 different individuals, 25 different history, background.
Yeah.
And so you just got to find a way to help everyone, but not at the expense of the team.
There's been a lot of, either on media interviews or some players have told me themselves that, it sounds, I paraphrase a bit, but when you were up for this job, there was a lot of talk about how Gavin is one of us. He understands us. He gets us, and we support the fact that he would be able to lead us. How true is that you are one of the players, you are one of them?
Well, I think the advantage maybe comes from me being a Tampines coach before, right? So I've worked with a lot of boys. I've went up against a lot of the boys. And at the same time, my stint as the assistant to Coach Ogura definitely helped, right? Because they got to know me, and that's how trust develops. And that's one advantage, because compared to someone else who they haven't worked with before, yeah, it's so I've got the advantage in that sense.
Just by being a part of the system in a way, part of the industry, and knowing them a little bit better.
Yeah, and them knowing me as well.
Has that ever been a disadvantage? Like, hey, when you know your boss a bit too well, hey, boss, get lah. Gavin, no problem. Hey, Gavin lah. Hey, our Gavin lah. Gavin understand. Gavin, you understand, right?
I mean, listen. This is something that happens not just here but everywhere, right? When you get more comfortable with someone, then you try to test the boundaries a bit.
Normal.
It's normal. It's normal. But as the role of the leader of the group, then you just got to protect their boundaries sometimes, all the time. And we are quite fortunate that we've got a bunch of players where they know they'll try, but it ends there, right? And they all know it's not a personal thing.
Yep.
It's something professional for the group, for the team.
Yeah, man. Tell me a bit about your background. Your father was also a coach in football.
Yep.
Tell me about that dynamic and how it might have affected your choices in life, or has it?
Well, I think like most things, you are unconsciously influenced by your environment, right? And since young, my dad has brought me to his trainings, his games, and seeing him work as a coach, seeing him passionate about coaching, definitely have shaped some decisions, I think. But most important is that I found my own passion in it, and I really enjoyed it, and so it's something that I pursued quite early on.
Does your dad ghost coach?
In what way?
Like, when how dads are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, see, my dad's a tailor, thankfully, but he thinks he's a comedian.
Okay.
Sometimes older Indian uncles will give you like, hey Rishi, you're a comedian, I forward you one joke, you can use this in your comedy next time, huh? So is your dad one of them, like, hey Gavin, for today's game, can I suggest a tactic?
Fortunately, no.
No,
No.
He'll never go like, bro,
No.
trust me, today you play 3-5-1. Confirm.
You're sure one player 3-5-1?
Yeah. 3-5-2. Sorry. That's why I'm not in the football world. Yeah. I just embarrassed myself.
No, but my dad, well, obviously he watches all the games that I've been involved with, but yeah, he doesn't go that path.
Okay, so he doesn't like talk to you about it. Did he congratulate you after, like, when you got the job? Or?
We have this relationship, where if I don't hear from him, it's good news lah.
Okay,
so that's the kind of relationship we have, and so I'm sure he's very proud in his way.
Okay. I don't know if you watched my show, Mr. Lee, but I think, if you want to say that you're proud of your son, if you're happy with his work, if you've got any feedback for his coaching in a positive way, please write into the Rishi Report. Our team will forward the message.
Yeah, you can be the messenger.
At some point, I want to ask you a little bit about, the preps and the chances of two major tournaments coming in the next 8 months or so.
Yep.
Right. You've got the ASEAN Cup, the Hyundai ASEAN Cup.
Yes.
And then you've got Riyadh
Yep.
in 2027.
Yep.
Let's just try to understand where we are at right now. How's the mindset of the team and what we're doing to kind of get the best possible results for these tournaments?
I think our starting point is Riyadh, right? The road to Riyadh. So we kind of plan backwards, and as much as possible, during all the FIFA windows we have, we want to play stronger oppositions and also try to spend more time together.
Yep.
So those are the kind of two guiding principles we have when we plan the calendar. Then obviously, like you said, ASEAN Championships in the middle, right smack in the middle of it. And obviously this is quite widely regarded, this tournament as well.
Yeah.
Right? But the challenge with this isn't a FIFA sanctioned tournament. So it's outside the window. So like before where we didn't have our players based overseas, who are based overseas.
Yeah.
So it might be a similar situation this time. So there's a whole lot of work behind the scenes trying to get the best possible squad for this competition.
Because it's not a FIFA approved window, that means, so for example, if you've got players playing in Belgium or Thailand or well, ASEAN, they might release, but if they're playing club level football, they don't automatically get like leave to play for the national call-ups.
Exactly. So unlike the official FIFA windows where if the national team body calls you, you have to go kind of thing. But not for this tournament. So this is a little bit tricky in that sense.
Well, I mean, just for, again, I'm assuming some people who watch the show now may not be fully aware who some of these key players are who are involved in overseas clubs. So talk me through some of the challenge. I mean, if you can, who are the players that we're trying to bring back for the ASEAN Cup, ASEAN Championships?
Yeah, so the other variable we have is the ASEAN Championship happens next season. Right, so the 26-27 season. So we also don't know which clubs our players will be next season.
Who's going to be where in the next season?
So once we know for sure where they will be next season, then conversations can happen.
Wow.
So that quite a few moving parts this one.
Wow. And is that so are you the one who has to administer this, or is it more like the team, the FAS?
Yeah, so we've got a working group within the federation for national team, and obviously it's an ongoing conversation every day.
Yeah.
For every window, especially this tournament.
Yeah.
And so it's about trying to get the best possible solution given all this chaos.
Okay. So team lineups is a bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
Because of the reasons you mentioned. What else are we hoping for or looking towards? I mean, in my head, a positive finish in the ASEAN Championship will definitely be a great boost for the team going into Riyadh, which will be like 4 or 5 months after that.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think nobody wants to go into a competition just to participate. You know, when we go there, we want to compete. That's for sure. And like we've done in the last 3 windows, we just want to put out the best performance we can each and every game, and then see where the result takes us.
Yep.
But outside of that tournament, you've got all the other windows as well. And so what we're trying to do as a federation is to get as strong of an opposition as possible. So oppositions that normally we might not have tried to play against.
Yep.
Because it's not going to be easy, right?
So in that respect, it's quite unfortunate that the game against Faroe Island was cancelled.
Yep.
Due to the current conflict in the Middle East.
Yeah. So that game in itself is like an indication of where we're heading towards. These are the teams that we want to play against. We recognize that it won't be easy, but if we want to get somewhere, we cannot take the easy path.
Do you take these decisions? Like, do you kind of take it up to the body, like as the coach? Do you go like, hey, I think we are ready to take on Faroe Islands? Or is this like, someone who comes up with these names of teams?
So again, before I started the job, right? So when we speak about expectations and plans, for example, then this was something that I said quite early on. Like we should be trying to go down this path, and everybody was on the same page as me.
Yep.
So that helped, right? So then now it's about, okay, which teams can we play? Whose doors can we knock on to make this happen?
So you kind of go like, hey, Faroe Islands, we are Team Singapore, we're looking for some game time.
Yeah, different games, different opposition, you got different ways to make it happen. You know, sometimes it's they come knocking on your door. You know, sometimes it comes through a contact. And sometimes it's like you trying to find them somehow. So just different ways.
But that, I think there's a big part of it, right? The network that you might have.
Yeah.
You've been in a unique position because you've had an intimate insight into not just national level football in this country, at various levels, whether it was coming up in the youth teams or whether now being a part of the coaching staff or leading the coaching staff in the national team or in the club level as well. Where are we right now in terms of football as a nation, national level and club level? Whichever one you want to address first.
I mean, in terms of club level, I think it's very pleasing to see like Sailors have done more last year very, very well, right? They went all the way to the final.
Yep.
And Tampines this year had a very good run as well. So this shows that at the club level, we are starting to compete at that higher level, which is very good for the national team, because then your local boys are playing at that level. And then at the national team level, I think what we did at Hong Kong was quite special, but it is only the beginning. What we've done is we created a platform for ourselves. Then now the question is, what's next, right? How can we qualify again next time? And then normalize that, right? Then that's how progress is made. And then once at some point where we are comfortable, not comfortable, like where qualifying is a norm, then it's about like, how can we get out of the group, right? And then so on and so forth. So,
yeah. You made a very good point there about how some of the club level teams are reaching the finals of these regional tournaments. Do you think clubs like Sailors and Rovers, so Lion City Sailors for the uninitiated and Tampines Rovers, do you think they are anomalies in the Singapore Premier League right now? Or, because they are the top two,
yep,
right? Is the situation for the rest of the clubs the same? Because you do see a lot of the national team players are coming even in your current squad. A lot of them are from these two top teams.
Yeah.
Is there some disparity, or is there some challenge that we are missing, or some gaps that need to be filled in your view?
Well, I think this season alone, or last season, okay, when I was still at Tampines, you could see there were clubs that were very close, competing very closely. Albrechts, Geylang, and this year Albrechts was also very close, but Geylang recently beat them last weekend. So it just shows how close things are. And then Balestier are having a good run as well. And so it is not that far, because again, the games they play against Tampines, there have been games where Albrechts played Tampines, Albrechts played Sailors. It was close games as well. So it just shows that it's not that far.
In terms of the on-pitch quality.
Yeah. But maybe these two teams, because of their participation in the Champions League, allows them to have that consistency, because they've been tested at a higher level, and that helps them a little bit in the process.
Definitely, I think. Yeah, you're right. I think having this kind of regional exposure really helps. What would you like to see more of? I mean, anything from, and my understanding of it is that, things that might support any kind of sporting industry are money, infrastructure, attracting talent, which maybe all goes back to Manila. I mean, I for example, when the national team, when you received that news of qualifying for the Asian Cup, it was common news that the president, FAS president, Forrest Lee, offered 2 million to the team. Is that correct? Or did he not commit to the number? He said right, around 2 million, approximately 2 million.
Yeah.
But my serious question is, was it cash or Shopee vouchers?
I declined to answer.
Okay. I only got Shopee vouchers. That's what I'm saying. So
it's better than nothing, mate.
I got something. No, but I think that is an example. He probably understands that, hey, nobody is wearing the shirt purely because of money, right? But it helps her.
Yeah.
If you want to create a living from sport. So I guess going back to the question, what would you think we can see more at a club level, at least?
I mean, I will answer this in a different manner. I mean, financially, of course, everybody knows, right, that it will always help if you got more money, more resource, better infrastructure. But that has been covered enough.
Yep.
But I think on the other hand, for players and for staff, question is, how can we use what we did in Hong Kong, for example, to inspire even more people to get behind Singapore football? Because after we won, after we qualified, there was so much attention and all that positive vibes with the team, right? And so it shows that people really do care about the Singapore team.
But do you think it's fair weather Singaporeans?
So even if it is, right, then our job is to how can we convert them?
Yeah.
And that's our focus really. As a byproduct of our performances, we have more converts, right? So that then there'll be more bumps on seats for the national team, and then attract them with the club football, and then the whole ecosystem grows.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's something I think we've mentioned that national team is often seen just at the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yep.
But we often forget that the people involved are standing on the shoulders of people that came before, and also people that opened the doors and stuff like that. So and something I've said before about like PE teachers and teachers, right? They were part of the process, right? Like Haris Harun wouldn't be here without the teachers that help him along this journey. So what I'm trying to say is it's a whole ecosystem that builds the national team.
Yep.
And so if more people can recognize that, and then they feel like a little bit more pride about what they do, then that also helps the ecosystem to sustain the growth.
Right. Wow. I think you and I are like the converts lah. The converted. Because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I also sometimes think about what ideas or what things that can be done to get more, like you say, bumps on seats. I'll draw a parallel to my personal world.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a stand-up comedian in Singapore.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will argue that stand-up comedians have it even more difficult than theatre practitioners. Because we don't qualify for funding. It's like, you can go and tell your jokes in comedy club and make money. You need funding. Can we give you funding for making fun of Prime Minister or Minister? I mean, I paraphrase these discussions. There's no person who directly said this to me, but these are conversations that we have. And getting bums on seats is a struggle for all of us in the arts community, right? And I think you are right somewhere that there is a mindset shift.
Yep.
There's this symbiotic relationship between, having to make sure that people are excited enough to come out to the stadiums, which in your position right now, the only best thing you can do is to deliver results, right? If the team is playing well with you and people are enjoying it, then they'll tell their friends.
Yeah.
Like I know I brought a lot of people to games in the past.
Yeah.
People who maybe normally wouldn't come.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, I'm like, guys. And I started coming to games regularly post-COVID.
Nice.
Yeah, post-COVID.
Yep.
And I was like, hey guys, y'all should really come check this out. It's a mad vibe.
No, and that's the thing, right? I think one is to attract the people come down the first time, and then to retain them after.
Yeah.
And that's the product that we put out on the pitch. And so like we say internally, like result is something that's out of our control, right? So let's focus on what we can control, and that's the performance. And a lot of times I've got people telling me, like, a lot of times they're just proud because sometimes you see the players just giving 100%, literally, like they would do everything it takes to get a performance in, right? And these kind of things people can resonate with.
Yeah.
And so it is not complicated. I think they're not expecting like a tiki-taka and all. It's a bonus.
Yep.
But the bare minimum is when you're out there, you don't let the shirt down.
That's a very fair thing to say, man. You don't let the shirt down.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's important. So that's one. So club level, we've kind of spoken about. National level, right? Do you think this is some degree of a golden age of football that we are entering?
Yeah.
Or we are in? Or what's your vibe about that?
I think this can only be defined by time, right? Like I think after some time then we can see where this all ends up and how it's described in the era of football, of Singapore football. But what we have done is, I think we've created, again, we created a platform. How can we use it to keep Singapore football going, right? Sustain the momentum, because we want that positivity to carry on. It's been a while now since we have so many people coming together.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's fantastic. And so the challenge is for us, or the burden is on us to go make it sustainable.
Does it seem like you're on the right track where you are right now? What's the feelings?
I think we have a bunch of staff and players that are very clear with their intentions. You know, they know what we want to achieve, and I think everybody knows what are the sacrifices and commitment that has to take place for us to get there.
Yep.
But it's not an easy path. You know, sport is so difficult, so much unpredictability and randomness, and that can take you off the path. So you need some really strong-headed people with deep passion for what they do.
Yep.
And I think we've got this group right here.
Was there maybe there's an internal discussion, I don't know, but did qualifying for Riyadh delay the retirement of some of our national team players from national football?
I don't think so.
No? So they were going to play anyway lah.
Yeah, I think so, because they are, again, it goes a lot of time it goes back to their biological age, right? Like okay, they've turned 36 or 35, but ultimately, if they're still the best players around, if they're still performing at a level where they can contribute to the national cause, then yeah, carry on, mate.
Will you be doing any new call-ups for the upcoming season?
No, again, it's a window by window thing, right? It's up to the conditions and the performance levels of the players. So we watch all SPL games, right? So we've got quite a good grasp of where each player is at. Unfortunately, sometimes players get injured. Sometimes they are loss of form, and so each window we've just got to select the best group of players for that window.
I had a question about athletes in Singapore.
Okay.
Maybe not specifically football, although that is your trade and your main area. Do you feel like professional athletes in Singapore are fairly supported and fairly remunerated?
It's a tough one, because obviously, like we said earlier, it's always nice to have more finance, more resource. But I think not just in football, right? You look at Max Mader, schooling in the past, they start to have all these commercial deals, Shanti Pereira as well.
Yeah.
And that's just a sign of things that, okay, maybe things are moving in a certain direction.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want like a 100 plus or a Milo endorsement?
Or Hugo Boss, right?
Hugo Boss, that one next level.
Yeah, so
who has that? Is there anyone?
I think Schooling did, right?
Oh, Schooling. Oh, yeah, of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it is going one way. And then for footballers specifically, I mean, now that, let's say, Tampines and Sailors are playing the regional competitions, players are going abroad to play.
Yep.
You know, when you go at these bigger competitions or other leagues, then financially it becomes a little bit more lucrative as well.
Because they get paid more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you go into a regional tournament or qualify.
It's just economics, right?
Yeah.
The teams that play in those competitions, typically they invest maybe a little bit more in the teams, and so it's just effect.
Right. Do you miss coaching club football?
In a way, yes. The daily interactions.
Tell me more about that. Like, what is the difference? We kind of touched on this a little bit pre-interview, but what is the main difference between coaching club level football and now being a national team head coach?
Quite a few differences. At club level, you get to have training almost every day. So you interact with your players almost every day. So right now, I kind of miss that grass time. With national team, you get a little bit, as a consequence of less training and all, you get a little bit more space and time to evaluate things, to make plans. And with the national team, of course, now you're not just focused on one team, you're just focused on the effects of this team on the wider community.
Yeah.
So how do we garner that support and leading in the right direction, etc. So there are quite a lot of differences, but you know, I think when the window comes in, that's where I get very, very excited, because back to grass. And so that's probably the main difference that for me makes a difference. Yeah.
So how do you deal with the aspects of grass time, like you say that you miss? Or do you just go and like stand on the grass somewhere?
I wish I could, but the groundsman would chase me off the pitch.
You cannot just go to like your old stadium and just stand there and just wait for people to come. Like, hey, anybody? Do you call your old players? Go, hey, what's up, man? Hey, how are you?
No, what I try to do to fill that void is just get myself into different projects and collaborating with different departments to help the national team. Keep myself busy, as they say. Yeah.
Do you still play?
No.
No, like some old friends call you out and say, hey, Gavin, come on, fight side.
No.
No.
The last time I played was probably the staff game with the federation, but that's about it.
What was your position?
When I was younger, like Coach Kade, I don't know if you know Kade.
Yes.
He used to play me anywhere in the back line or in midfield. So
okay,
utility man, as they say.
Oh, everywhere also can.
Just play. You play me, I'll play.
Left foot, right foot, back line, front line, anywhere.
Something like that.
Were you from the generation that grew up playing football under the block? Like
yes.
Barefoot.
Yeah, in the street soccer courts and basketball courts, those kind of things.
Anywhere you find some kind of.
I remember in primary school you play with on the basketball court with the bottle cap, right?
Yeah, or pong fruit.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Do you think we still have kids like that today?
I'm sure there is. You
think?
Yeah.
I'm talking about like barefoot, no need ball, just wherever you find. If the thing hits the tube light, everybody run because you're scared police going to catch you, guys. Do you think we still have kids like that these days? Or, because my observation has been, it's become a lot more structured. Parents also are. They're like, hey, if you want to do, let me get you a proper jersey, kit, go and play in some youth team, structure, got coach, go play on real, turf.
Safer conditions.
Cannot play barefoot under the block, all this nonsense.
No, I think there is, but maybe a lot less, right? I think like you said, accessibility to organized football is a lot higher now.
Yeah.
I mean, you have so many programs, right, from the private academies to Active SG and school football. And it's not a bad thing because now you've got more regulated training from earlier.
But is that better? I mean, in your view, I'm not a pro, right? But what I've kind of understood from the processes is that, there was a time where there is an age that is too young to start regulated training. Yeah. Like up to a certain age, you don't have, why are you spending time in the gym or what? You're a kid.
When I talk about regulated training, it's not going to the gym and all or watch the nutrition kind of thing. It's more like you have a coach, right? I mean, back then, like you said, when we're playing on the courts and stuff, you don't have a coach, you just play, right?
Anyhow.
But that's a very bottom-up approach, right? Because you're learning trial and error. But then when you have a coach, then you're kind of getting top-down guidance in that sense. So that I think will help.
Okay. You don't feel like the players are becoming softer because of this? Because, at that time, I mean, I again, maybe I grew up in a time where, kicking the wall was normal, blood was normal, and then like broken lights was normal. I'll tell you a true story, Coach, okay? I grew up in Bedok. Yeah. Right? But every other weekend or what, we go to my cousin's place in Marine Terrace.
Yep.
Okay? And when I was very young, this was the first time I saw a violent clash of footballers.
Okay.
These were older teenage boys.
Yep.
And I don't know why, but that time it was all about race in football.
Yeah.
Indians one team and all the Malays one team. Okay.
Yeah.
And these were maybe, I want to say, 15, 16-year-old kids.
Yeah.
I was maybe primary school.
Okay.
And then they were like, okay, loser buys drinks for the other team.
Okay.
Entire team. And that would cost maybe, I don't know, like $5-10 or whatever.
Yeah.
It would still be money, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw those kids go at each other it was like a netball court.
Yeah.
Still remember, okay, you put 2 dustbins on each side. And they were going hard, man. Like elbowing and sliding on the court and blood and all that. And at the end of the game, right, the losing team and the winning team just kind of hung out, drinking ice batu together. Blood. Hey, bro, just like that. But I don't know. Do you think that was a way players got tougher, people got tougher, everyone became a bit more resilient?
I mean, yes and no, because how do we define resilient, right? I think back then maybe because we had so many obstacles and challenges that we had to settle ourselves, then we learned the hard way how to overcome these challenges, right? Like in life. Maybe now sometimes where we have a little bit more protection, obstacles getting taken away from us.
Yeah.
And so we don't learn that skill to like overcome them when they arise.
Yeah.
Which is something that it's a fact that sport, life, everything, you always have challenges, you always have obstacles. You cannot remove them, right? So the skill that as coaches in this regulated environment now is how can we help players to overcome these challenges, right? How do you develop the brain to do that?
How do you? I mean, if you can share some of your secrets.
Yeah, so first of all is to help players to understand what they have experienced. We don't take the experience away from them. So if for example, when a young kid maybe don't play, right? Then a lot of times you hear from youth coaches that, then the parents come and complain.
Why they are
they're not playing,
being
right?
played.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the other way is like you could help the kid to develop tools like how do you deal with this? You go and train even harder. You can push yourself even more. You don't make the decision any easier for the coach, right? So these are things that are more beneficial for the player.
Yeah, which they may not see in that moment. The parent may not understand.
Yeah,
but you can offer that suggestion. Hey,
yeah,
you're gonna be a parent yourself soon.
Yes.
What's the feelings like that about family right now? I mean, there's a lot. That means you've got 3 major tournaments coming up.
Yeah, 3 major tournaments.
You got ASEAN Cup, Riyadh, and then you got your home.
A lot of things to paradise.
Yeah, you have to manage the calendar.
No, I think me and my wife are just very excited.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she's aware that our son is due just before AFF.
Wow, these kind of tough decisions, man.
I think I just bring my son with me to the game.
I mean, if he's already out by then, right?
Yeah,
just before. Okay. Wow. So you're going to travel out with the family?
Just bring him along with me and then he can help me the coaching.
You'll be one of those, those dads with the baby thing there on the sideline. Anyway, you don't make too much noise.
Exactly.
Anyway, you are a quiet, calm coach. The baby just there. And he's like, let's move there. Hello. Hey, Shawal. No. Wait. Okay, don't worry. That will be a sight, man. Can I ask you for one final parting thought?
Okay,
this is an important thing because we talked about getting bums on seats.
Yep.
And how the fans play a huge part. And I know this is said a lot, but I have lived it. I've experienced it in a lot of ways. In fact, actually, let me show you one photo. I don't know if you remember this photo that I took as a fan right here. Is that behind you? Come a closer.
I remember that night.
Oh boy.
I remember all that was said, but
Aiyo.
that shall stay in Hong Kong.
I know. Whatever happened in Hong Kong, stay in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, coach? Yeah. What was it? I think after we cut, then I have to ask you what I said. But I do remember this one. Okay, in my defense, I think coach is making a reference to me being a little bit flying high after the Hong Kong game because I was not there on work.
Yeah.
I flew up as a fan.
Yeah.
I flew up to hang out.
Yeah.
And we were all having a couple of drinks. Not y'all lah. I mean, the fans were all having a couple of drinks. And when we won, bruh, everybody went insane, man.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me show you a snippet of that insanity. A little behind the scenes, okay? Behind the scenes. Yeah. Let's show the video, okay? Because you're featured in it. Oh, very positive.
I'm here for work. Calm down. Listen, I think I already said it to the players earlier. I think what we achieved tonight is not just 11 players or 26 players and the staff. It's the work and effort of everybody in this room and everybody back in Singapore. So enjoy the win tonight, and then we go again.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, that is just a small. Not everybody gets to enjoy that. That was a real privilege, by the way, to be able to. So, for context, this was the after party of the Hong Kong game, where you don't even know how I ended up there, right? You're like, what the hell is Rishi doing here? And who are these randoms? Okay, I'll tell you the story.
Okay,
we actually came to congratulate the team.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And I think when we were downstairs at the hotel, I don't know how so many people showed up. I just went with like Jarvis and a couple of guys.
Yeah.
We're like, someone said they are staying there. Maybe we just go and say hello, congratulate. We've come all the way here.
Yeah.
Not nice if we don't congratulate them personally. So we're hanging out below your hotel. And I think Iksan comes out
Right.
with the crutches. Right?
Ilhan.
Sorry, Ilhan comes out with his crutches and he takes a photo with the fans and everything. And then it was one of the FAS staff who sees me and goes like, Rishi, what are you doing here? I was like, oh no man, we just wanted to come and say hi to the players and congratulate everybody. If you don't mind. And I was very open. I said, there's a few of us, they really want to say hi to the players and just congratulate everybody. If, humble request, if we could find a way to do that, let us know. We are here. He's like, how many of you? I'm like, I think 5. But actually, there were like 15 hiding behind the Christmas tree. I don't know why they were hiding. And he's like, okay, give me a few minutes. He goes up and he comes up, Rishi, all of you, come up. Forrest has invited you to the party.
Fantastic.
I'm like, are you serious? I was like, hey, all those behind the Christmas tree. He's like, okay, come, no problem. And that's how we ended up there. And it was one of the most beautiful evenings that I can remember that we've all had.
It was nice one. Yeah.
It was good to meet everybody in good spirits. And we showed you a video of Forrest Lee earlier, right? I know I probably asked him to let me become Shopee ambassador. And he's like, no. He's like, can you do what Ronaldo did? He really asked me. I'm like, the dancing I can do better. I know the football. I don't know. But the dancing, I gotcha, man. Okay, but anyway. My reason for bringing up these moments is that as fans, they can all come out and watch the game, right? So I know we've got a big game coming up versus Bangladesh.
Yes.
This is at the National Stadium.
That's
at
right.
the Kalang.
Yes.
What's it looking? What's it looking like? I know we've qualified. Already. But what are you thinking about going into that game?
I mean, the message is very clear. First and foremost, we need to stay humble and hungry. Because even though we've qualified, we never really achieve anything in that sense. So that's the mindset that we need to bring into this window. And we really have been like, the next game is the most important game. So if this window is part of the prep for Asian Cup, then this game that we play, it must be the most important thing we do in the next 2 weeks. And so that should drive our thinking and our behaviors day to day. So we definitely prepare as well as we can. Unfortunately, we had to pivot our plans a little bit because of the Faroe Islands game being off. But regardless, right? Despite of all of that, we just carry on preparing as well as we can and then go out there to perform well, to try to bring the 3 points.
We still got your top pick for your squad, right? There was no restrictions on this because it's part of the FIFA window.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I think Shawwal is suspended.
Oh, really? Yeah. He got a cut in the last game.
So he's the only one. I think Song is still rehabbing.
Okay.
But other than that, I think the core group of players are available and they're just excited. Play at home, everybody's excited.
Of course.
And
so I think the message to the fans, if you're considering watching the game, it's not going to be like, we are just going to rest a few players and save play. No. You're going to go out there to send a message that, hey, we are serious contenders. We're not here to fool around.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I think we've also said like there were only 2,000 fans that were fortunate enough to be in Hong Kong. And so we want to bring that same level of purpose, intensity, intentions onto the pitch, so that more people get to appreciate that, and we want more people to come down so that they get to experience firsthand, that pride of their national team. So that's going to be guiding us all the way to Bangladesh game.
Okay, man. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to hang out with the fans. Come join me if you want to watch Singapore take on Bangladesh in the final qualifying match of the Asian Cup, which we've already qualified for. But this is still a must-win game, lah.
Yes.
At least to send a message to everybody out there. Coach, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for
really means a
having
lot.
Thank you.
You have reignited a dream in a lot of Singaporeans that maybe didn't know it was still possible in their lifetime to be able to dream like that for national football. So thank you for that.
We'll keep trying.
Keep trying. And again, I always say this, if you need a spare player.
No, I got your number.
I think I should say less right now, right? Because any more I talk, I'm going to reduce my chances further of being a part of the national team, okay? Which are already very low, right? Like close to zero. Oh, zero itself, Coach. That's been our episode. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Coach Gavin Lee of the Singapore men's national football team. They've got a big game coming up 31st of March with Team Bangladesh. If you're in town, I highly recommend getting a ticket, going to the stadium, enjoying the vibes. I'm going to be there and hope to see you there as well. We'll have our next guest joining us on the show very, very soon. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you again on the Rishi Report podcast series. Thank you.